Okay, whatever was in that freaking Sonic's right, mocha shaped stuff, right? It tasted more like coffee grounds right, for a second there, right? But even that can get into your coffee sometimes when you drink it a little bit. They think it's gonna kill you, but it might keep you up all night. I'm sitting here, you know, trying to figure out if Game 6 was played tonight. I wonder if they're going to mention the scores on any of the TV channels. Right? And by the time, right, I realized, oh, wait a minute, 911 was on Fox tonight. Right? So the game didn't even play. Oh, shoot. I just can't get the thought about the game out of my head, right. Like, for instance, I predicted it would go to Game 7, right? No matter who wins or loses, right? But it don't mean anything if it happens, and it don't mean anything if it don't, right? Now, like I told you, both teams have been to the World Series before, and either team can win or lose, right? And it happened before. I don't put a spin on anything I can't really prove or predict, right? Because it's stupid to do that. See, when it's a 50-50 chance, right, that both teams seem to be equally matched, right, and you're stupid enough to bet on it, that's why you lose, right, all the time, right? That's your, again, greed causing you to think you can predict something that is either controlled by the people you're betting with, right? Which I've heard of that too. The bomb controls who wins sometimes, right? Or most of the time, right? And has people on their payroll, as they say, right? To start the game sometimes, right? Now it's like when a baseball player swings a pitch, right? And he's not in Zen mode, right? He don't hit the ball worth of shit. But when he's in Zen mode and makes the connection, he gets the home run or whatever, right? Which happens once in a while. What's going on, right? Right. You know, what, he's not in Zen all the time, right? See, they say that's your alpha brain waves taking over from the beta brain waves, right? When you're playing a sport, right? When you're in what's called the zone, right? You're letting nature take its course, right? But when you're not in the zone and you're doubting in yourself and you're trying to do something you normally do well, that's when you mess up, they say as well, right? It's also how our brain works too. Like, if I'm, whatever was in the shake is probably what's keeping me up, right? And I've been up all night. My back's mildly bothering me, right? But I can't fall asleep or feel tired enough to get to sleep, right? And that's usually insomnia brought on by whatever was in the shake, right? That's also a medical thing, right? That can happen to anyone, right? And like I said, right, to anyone who'll listen, Dr. Chu or otherwise, right, when you're dealing with people who won't listen to you, right, because they think they know more than you know, right, they become stubborn and irrefutable, right? In other words, they think even they don't make mistakes when they do. When they do. When people get like that, they're worse than the devil itself, right? Because they don't want to acknowledge they're wrong in something, right? Or they want to stop the evil they're doing because they don't think there's nothing wrong with it. When there could be. When there could be. That's the problem too. See, stubbornness can't replace true faith either. Now, whatever happened, like I said, at Dr. Kirby's with the nurse, right? And why I'm in there such a long time, I was having trouble peeing, right? B, right? Sometimes I can pee after sex easier than I can pee. Right, right. And why wouldn't one of the nurses, if we can lock the door, have sex with me, right? Now, I ain't gonna do it if I can't lock the damn door, though, right? No, no. And I also ain't trying to trick the nurse, and I'm also gonna ask her if you're single or have a boyfriend. And I'm also gonna say, well, you're not dating anyone, not even the doctor, I ain't gotta worry about nothing, do I? Right? Before I even try to be with her, right? Now, but if the doctor, as we're having the sex, starts banging on the door, wondering where his nurse is, right? All right, and say we finish, right? By that time. And he comes banging in the door while I don't remember anything, right? Right. And all me and the nurse have to say is, oh, we're trying to figure out ways that I can try and pee, right? That's all. That's all. Unless she voluntarily told him that we were having sex, right? Which I wouldn't do that, right? Even if we were. Not that I'm embarrassed about it. But then what's he gonna do? Go get a gun and shoot me? He's not doing that. Because he sure as hell wouldn't come with a gun. The girl ain't a child, right? She's an adult woman too, right? And she's working as a nurse, so she at least has a degree, right, of some sort, right? Or went to school for it, right? I assume. So it's not like it's a child, right? And also, don't explain anything I've been going through recently either. Start with the girl that's lying, right? Which happened kind of before all this, isn't it? Right. Right, right. And like I said, all I'm doing is joking around with her anyway initially. Unless, again, she jokingly accepts it. And then again, I say, well, can we lock the doors up, right? So no one can get in until we can complete everything, right? And then, when we're done, he does something to bite me out, right? Why would he do that? I don't know. Maybe he thinks the nurse shouldn't have done that with me, right? Which ain't his business, right? Between me and her, we're two consenting adults, right? It's not a crime, okay? If you're in one of the rooms and the nurse wants sex with you, to have sex with her if we're two consenting adults. No, it's not. No, it's not. Unless you're trying to tell your employee who she can date and that she can't date a patient, which is bullshit. You can't even tell her that, right? No, you can't. You're just a doctor. You can't police who their states. No, you can't. You can date anyone. Or you're committing the violation of civil rights there, right? Yes, you are. That's a violation of civil rights of who a person dates, right? Anyway, that's a civil law, right? Not a criminal law either, right? It's not a crime to have sex with the nurse if she's trying to help you pee, right? Not that I know of. I don't even think it's a simple violation, right? As long as you're in the privacy of your own room, right? And she consents to the sex and is old enough to consent, right? Unless you're dating her and she lied about it, but there again, I'm going to ask her that up front too, because she thinks we have on the offer, right? They're trying to help me pee, but there again, if I'm backed out, I'm just making this up as far as I know, right? And it's just still taking me a while to pee, right? But it's still a fantasy thing, right? Like I keep telling you too, it's not a crime to fantasize. If it's taking you a long time to pee, the one nurses might help you pee by having sex with you even if she didn't, right? Like I said, there too, right? Which could be, again, true, sure. Still don't mean she did or didn't have sex with you either, it's just a fantasy, right? It's a part of my rock and roll fantasy. Right. And even rock and roll stars are the only person who was born in one moment, right? And trying to seduce you or entice you into it too, she doesn't, right? So maybe I'm the Navy rebel rock star, right? Isn't it? and you fell into my clutches. But I sure as hell didn't rape you, right? Because you can say no, right? While I'm doing whatever I'm doing down there, right? If you don't say no, you're consenting, right? Well, here's the thing. I don't have to tell you I want sex, right? If you don't assume I don't, right? Nor do I have to tell you again, I'm going to use my penis instead of my tongue, or I'm going to use my tongue and my penis on you, right? If you're letting me use one, why can't I use the other? Now, like I'm saying as well, do I look like a girl to you? Even now? Or do you think I'm one of the, you know, A-cup girls? That's why I don't even understand what her problem was. I don't even know. And once she broke up with me and said not to contact her anymore, right? I don't understand that either, right? I thought everything was good, right? But then I found out something was wrong, right? Which, like I said, being a Christian, the only thing I can think of is she sold himself a premarital sex, right? That she's not only acting like it's as a sin, but that she's got to kill me over it, which that's insane too. See, what she don't realize is even Moses talks about that, right? If you're unbetrothed and you sleep with each other, all you would have to do is get married, dummy. Afterwards, too. It don't say you can't. No, it don't say you can't. But that's usually the church's position when a male is just trying to seduce a daughter into having sex on and uses love to do so, right? That's wrong too. I don't disagree with that, but that wasn't what I was doing. I was seeking for a wife because my shitmates were constantly messing with me that I was gay, right? That means I not only wanted to sex with you, but as soon as we could, once we got back to the States or something like that, I was trying to legally marry you. Now, I was trying to be romantic since our ships went to 2 ports to suggest, well, what about Israel? If we're going to Israel, maybe we can get married in Jerusalem. At least that's what the voice said to me as I was praying about it for 3 days, right? Before you broke up with me, by the way, right? Then when you broke up with me again, right? What could I do? I'm then all confused about what happened. Because when you suddenly cease communication with someone, right, and they don't know why, they still don't know why to this day, right? What happened was. That's the Star Spangled Banner there, right? We're at Moscot Key, right? Keys, right? Wherever, right? And see, that's fair use. That's fair use. For that song, right? Since it's played in the background, all I got to do is identify who's singing it, who wrote it, and stuff like that, right? I'm not sure who's singing it, though, since I'm in the bathroom, right? Trying to explain something to you, right? As it just came on the TV. And I'm not sure if you can't hear it or not, so I'm making sure I'm covering my butt. So again, now like I told you about rules, right? When you're over in Spain, right, and the women are topless at the beach, right, you still can't go up and grab their boobs, idiot. You gotta be able to tolerate that and behave yourself while they're on, topless, right? And nobody usually does that, right? But if I'm meeting 2 girls from a different ship, and I pick up one of them over the other, because that's usually dating too, right? You gotta choose one or the other, right? Mm-hmm. And I chose Sheena over the redhead, right? I thought she would be more understanding towards what I was going through as well. Though, yeah, I didn't get to bring it all up on the same day, right? Right. either. And you tried not to focus on it really at all. Right. But I started first trying to, again, deal with her about my dream and the idea that it could be about the two witnesses. But you also think it's the end of everything. Who's telling you that? The one who wants it all to end now anyway? Satan. If he did want it to end in 24-hour a day periods, right? Why did he again trick Adam and Eve into doing something with him they shouldn't have done, right? Where both of them hate it, right? After again, the deed was done. Like AC/DC says, dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Damn. Well, Satan tricked Adam into doing the dirty deed with him first, right? And now we gotta deal with that, right? Because you can still do it, right? And just because Adam did it first, right? Don't mean you gotta condemn everybody who does it, right? Even if you like it, even if you don't, or you don't want to do it now, right? That's what Jesus means about forgiveness of sins. All manner of sins shall be forgiven the Son of Man, save blasphemy of the Holy Ghost, including homosexuality, right? That's all I'm trying to tell you too, right? The Bible says that, not Satan. Satan wants to condemn you for every sin you're committing, even minor ones, right? Even minorly breaking the law, he wants to condemn you, right? And make the punishment worse than the crime, right? You don't see that either. If I'm picking up a few sticks on the Sabbath day, do you gotta stone me? Which means you gotta pick up these rocks to throw them at me on the Sabbath day too, right? Ain't that hypocrisy? Yes, it is. That's what Moses means. That's what Jesus was talking about to the Pharisees when the disciples were picking corn on the Sabbath day as well, right? Well, A, they're hungry. Even David did that, which is unlawful, and ate showbread on the Sabbath day, which was not lawful for him to eat, but the priests eat only, right? And all they're doing is picking and eating some corn on the Sabbath day, right? Because they're hungry. They're hungry. hungry hippo indeed, right? But again, right? Do you say you want to stone them because they're doing something on the Sabbath day, right? That's neither good nor bad, but they're just eating some corn they picked, right? Freshly from the stalk, right? And, I guess you do, huh? If you describe the Pharisees of that day, right? And then you're condemning the innocent, right? For just being hungry and grabbing a bite to eat on the place somewhere else, right? Where they're obviously walking through a field, right? Why not stone them for just walking to the field? If you're going to be that serious. Not just for picking up of sticks, right? See, there's a point where you're being insane with the law, and that's what Moses means. And then there's a point where you're being and following a just law, right? And the point is, do you know which is which, right? Whether you do or not, the best thing to do for certain things is to forgive it, right? Even all the way up to murder like Jesus did himself on the cross, right? Even if a few of the soldiers tried to gang maybe, right? We don't know, right? Because he's around them for 6 hours, stupid. And not only are they beating half to death, right? And putting him purple on him, and hitting him over the head with a stick and beating his face with their palms, right? I know, right? They could have raped him as well, right? And you don't know. Well, who ain't gonna tell you that though? Those who betrayed him, those who betrayed the blows, right? His own disciples won't tell you that they were part of that. They were the reason that happened, right? They're trying to make something happen with one man, right? Whom again, you're not even listening to it, right? You're trying to do your own thing to save Israel and not the world, where Jesus is trying to save the world and not just Israel. Right. And that's because all are sinners. No one's perfect in the eyes of God. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. No. So if you understand that, we're all sinners saved by grace through faith, not the works of these men should boast. Though we're just trying to do good works, the best we can, but we're not to put them above murder, right? Above sex, right? Or above breaking a Sabbath day rule, right? As someone is bending over to pick up a stick, are you to consult God and stone him anyway? Or are you simply to let it go because he's just picking up those things? Is that such a big deal you feel you have to stone him and go to God about the matter? Don't you think that's what really Moses is saying? Right. Or that if two men are being together like a man and a woman, right? Do you call it an abomination and stone them anyway? Right. Or do you figure they are two males in love or something and maybe want to be with each other and let them understand that, hey, we come from the male and female union, but if you're into that, you're into that, right? If you're not, you're not, right? Now, like I told you, normally there might be so many people who feel that way, right, if you don't force it, and so many people who don't, right? But whatever the number is, whatever the number ain't, you're just not to force it on someone who don't even know what they're doing, like what happened with Adam and Eve was saying, and even make it anyway. Now, if you do something to harm someone with it, right, and it hurts them versus it makes them ashamed, and versus you did it gently, say with his wife, but you did it to hurt him with him, right? If you're doing that, you're teaching him that what he did was evil, right, with him. And then he's hating that, right, till he died from the condemnation of the same act he did that he could have done with his wife or could have refused as well. But that happened anyway. Mm-hmm. And then because he condemned the act, right, till he died from it, right, as did Eve condemn him for not telling her what tree it was, right? And that she ate of the wrong tree accidentally, right? Because she probably did, right? If it was the body of Satan himself, which could move around, she too didn't know it was a human being. Well, if I tell you there's 25 trees in the garden and one you're not supposed to eat of, right? But I just call it the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? I don't call it an apple tree, an orange tree, a banana tree, right? Just the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Do you even think it's a tree? Like it seems Adam did, with a piece of fruit hanging from it, right? Or do you inquire from me further what I mean? Right. See, I have the right to test you, right? If you're even really listening to me or not, too, right? When I'm trying to warn you about not doing something, that if you do it, you're going to know good and evil by it, right? And you're going to wish you had never did it. You're going to die from it, right? And there's nothing I can do if you don't, again, let it go and forgive it because no one told you to do it, right? You were warned not to do it, and you did it anyway, right? And when you regret it, right, I can't change it. When you condemn it to your own demise, right, I told you not to do it in the first place, but you did it anyway. And that's free will for you too. And you're suffering because of free will. Mm-hmm. But it's not free will's fault. You chose to also suffer by the one causing you to suffer, who caused you to suffer in the first place by not listening to the one who warned you about not eating of his root, of his body, right? In the first place. So if you are having sex with your wife and you become one flesh with her, right, you also know that being is trying to become one flesh with you, and you don't normally do that, right? You can't see that might be the fruit you're not supposed to eat of either, or you don't want to. You don't want to. You're letting him beguile you worse than your wife. Mm-hmm. And now you're doing something with him. Mm-hmm. that you know he done traded you to show you how it feels for you to be with him, right? His two holes for your one, right? Usually the devil will make his deal seem better than your deal, but it's really not once it's his turn, right? It's like the devil went down to Georgia. And what that song means, right? Now, there the devil does the opposite. He takes the first song, right, which is where he messed up, right? And Johnny outplayed him with the second song, right? Right. That's why he won the golden fiddle, right? Usually the devil's supposed to let you play first and do the better song after you play. Right? You know that too, right? Yeah, that's what the devil usually. And deal with the devil with music, right? But in this particular song, right, the devil went first in his own vanity that he could beat Johnny, right?